In the previous episode, I sailed from Darwin to the remote Ashmore Reef, and here I make the 9-day sail from Ashmore Reef to Christmas Island, about 1,000 miles. Once again, leaving Australian waters for Indonesian waters most of the way. Monday, September the 2nd, I'm leaving Ashmore Reef to show you how well marked they have this. Another red, another green, and another red, and another green, and another red, and another green, and then it goes on, more reds and greens and reds, and eventually takes you all the way to the island where you just see the three boats they have moored there. Meanwhile, we have a cruise ship arriving. My timing for leaving is excellent. We've got a couple more markers to go through here, and that's Cape Sorel, the ABF patrol boat that's been looking after me for 4 days. Our timing leaving is excellent. This cruise ship has just arrived. They've just put down their port anchor. It's about 70 feet deep here. And we are headed out. You can see the reef on the far side there. I'll take you around to the other side here. And you can just see the reef on this side. Actually, every now and again a really nice swell comes through. Always makes me wish I was a surfer, but oh well. Getting out here to surf would not be easy. Well, we've just left Ashmore Reef and we have a guest on board. This looks like a brown booby. Doesn't have the red feet, the red-footed booby. It's very curious about us, checking it all out. Make sure the anchor gear is good. Dude, you've got a feather on your bill. Yeah, maybe that got rid of it. Actually, I think this was a red-footed booby, just a juvenile. Well, it's Monday the 2nd. I've left Ashmore Reef. There is a precious little sign of the trade winds. It's supposed to come from that direction. You see some light ripples there, but it ain't much. So we are headed on a northwest course, 330 degrees, hoping to intercept the trade winds eventually. Meanwhile, it's a beautiful, clear day yet again. Very calm sea. It's so calm out here. I can see my shadow. Oh, it's now 2 o'clock. Motored for 7 hours. And towards the end, I could feel that with some white caps and the sails starting to pull, that we could turn the engine off finally. What a treat. We're doing 4.5, 5 knots, and we're headed on a broad reach. Eventually, once we get far enough north, we'll go onto a run straight down latitude 10 to Christmas Island. It's exactly 1,000 miles away right now. There's the ABF plane, just went over. They arrived so fast and so low, you only barely realize they're coming. You could just grab the camera. And it'd be about 5 minutes before they call on the radio. Get this. We have about 5, 6 tuna, small ones, riding with us, our boways. They come to the surface. Look at that. Wow, never seen it before. Well, it's Wednesday, the 4th of September, and it has finally happened. I've been waiting for this for a long time. It's a very slow day, sailing north in light winds, an ever arcing course north, indicating that the wind was going from northeast to east and eventually southeast. And then I could jibe. Look at this. We are on port. Jibe, finally, hopefully for the rest of the Indian Ocean. Sailing finally into the sunset to Christmas Island. Too cool. This is one of the larger Indonesian fishing boats I encountered, moored in water many thousands of feet deep. What a life living on that. And you can see the mooring that he's attached to now. Those moorings must be nylon rope to be able to go down 12,000 feet. Here's two of the smaller ones that have the bright lights. I would say that there's 4 guys on board because there are 4 poles and 4 sets of bright lights. So I would guess that they're jigging for squid. They're a tandem on this mooring here. I was close enough to see that the float was a massive pack of styrofoam, and later learned that they connect repeated 1,000-foot nylon lines with intermediate floats all the way to the seafloor, where they are anchored with 44-gallon drums filled with concrete. The deepest mooring I saw was in over 20,000 feet. It's getting to late afternoon, Friday the 6th of September. We've had lovely steady trade winds all night, all day. This is what it's supposed to be like. We had a really wild night last night. The wind just grew and grew and grew. And oh, there's a beautiful petrel going through. And I had to take the jib down, fill and fill and fill. I was so glad I'd taken the main down already. Getting slapped around and rolled and all sorts of stuff. And then eventually got some sleep. And at 6 in the morning when I got up first light, I could see this big cloud behind us. I thought, uh-oh, squall. So I reduced the size of the... have to hang on here. It's out in the seas now. Of the jib a bit more, but even that wasn't enough. The squall that hit was ferocious. But at least it got the boat all washed. That's the first rain that we've had in, I think, a month since near Cooktown. And now this morning there are small squalls. There's a big squall over there and probably another one behind us. But these mountainous grey seas are something else. And they're breaking on the tops. And yeah, it's rough. I'll turn around and show you. I've put a bit more jib out. We went down to about a quarter. And we have about a third now. Put the jib out. It's so weird to see the whole mast so naked. But I'm so glad I restitched the clew of the jib. That gave me confidence it would all hold together last night. Wow, what a night. Yeah, pretty mountainous seas now. Lift up over the top, you can see the horizon and the other side. Lovely. Yesterday I thought we were getting tossed around a lot, but nothing compared with today, holding the camera steady. See what the horizon does here. It's great fun though. Absolutely blasting along here, doing 7-8 knots, broad reach. Just 2/3 of the jib out. And yeah, it's great fun, glorious day of sailing. The waves are getting pretty organized now. We're broad reaching, so they're not right behind us, but every now and again, like this nice big one, we get lifted up and scooted along beautifully. The next mountain comes along, and this one's going to lift us lovely too. There we go. Nice surf. And one last one out of this, maybe. Yeah, not bad. Little surf. It's wonderful. This is what it's all about. Ocean sailing at its best. It's Sunday the 8th, and just like yesterday, got up in the morning and a huge squall stretches right across the eastern horizon. I'm pretty sure it's going to catch us good and solid, so I'm getting the boat ready for it. You can see some of the rain falling in the... Oh, this was crazy close. guys. They had been on this mooring over here. I saw them and I was headed in front of them, and then they started motoring ahead. Wow, right into our path. Eventually we got out of Indonesian waters and back into Australian waters, headed to Christmas Island. It's Tuesday, September, what is it, the 10th. And a wild, rough night, but making lots of progress to Christmas Island finally, about 25 miles away. And this military Navy patrol boat chased me down. Man, he is moving out. No AIS like the one in Gulf of Carpentaria, but this guy is 317. I think that one was 314. There was an acceleration zone at the end of the island, so we came in really fast, with perhaps a quarter of the jib out, approaching Flying Fish Cove, where the main settlement is. Christmas Island at last! It's been taking a while to get here. The cove, and indeed the town, are dominated by this large phosphate loading facility, fed by conveyor belts from storage tanks on the top of the island. Phosphate mining until recently was the major economic activity of the island, but is being phased out in favor of tourism, and possibly an expanded naval base in the future. The town, nevertheless, has many beautification projects, like this waterfront park, with lovely mosaics on a curved wall, and nearby an unusual sculpture with its explanation. Lots of information posters explained aspects of the island, like its origins here. Immediately upon landing, I started finding the famous red Christmas Island crabs. There are times when thousands of these cross the island to go to the shore to lay eggs, but this is not that time. Really pretty crabs. And there are many other kinds of crabs here, including the large coconut and robber crabs I would see later. It's amazing big pigeons here, tolerant of people. The yellow eye. This one seems to be picking these fruits, and then this one sits and coos away every now and then. I have no idea what they are. I have to check it out. Oh, they're gorgeous. They are native imperial pigeons. Many of the seabirds I had been seeing were described in some of these posters. And here is a fluffy, red-footed booby chick. At a rescue center, it was easier to get pictures of the adults, like the white form here and a frigate bird.
When it first came in, so I think this one's about 6 or 8 weeks old, maybe. Mm-hmm. They grow up. They get from this stage to that stage in about a month. It's really fast. Once they start, see this one's starting to get its feathers underneath, and they get really funny. Like there was one, this one at the back. I don't know if you could still see it, but it had a little fluff mohawk when it first came in. See, that one doesn't care about the vitamin. There you go.
The island is quite large, so from the main settlement of Flying Fish Cove at the top right, a local guide named Nigel gave another sailor, Ralph, and me an unofficial tour of the eastern and southern parts, leaving the less accessible western parts for another time. First stop was a cliff above the anchorage. Sea change is on the right. Then an interesting Chinese temple. Massive waves coming in. That's Ralph. And there's Nigel. All right, Nigel. Here's the temple behind us. Temple for built by the Chinese to thank the gods of the sea for safely bringing them across. Ralph and then I enjoyed a dip in a grotto, and at an abandoned casino hotel complex, Nigel showed us some tropic bird chicks. This is amazing. At this casino, at a wall overlooking the ocean, there's a chick of the red shafted tailed tropic bird. You can see it's all got its down still. and a black bill and spots on its back. And then around the corner is an older chick at the back there. See, it's much older, the down's gone, but it's still got the black bill and the spots. And here's an adult sitting right here. See the red shaft coming out of its tail and the brilliant red bill. I don't know whether it's sitting on an egg or just, they're very awkward on the ground. They can't move around easily. They sort of waddle. And so she might just be sitting. This viewpoint, called Margaret's Knob, was extremely windy, but from it we saw lots of golden bosuns, the endemic variant of the white tropic bird, as well as the endemic Abbott's boobies, celebrated with this sculpture. In a rainforest area further south, the red crabs were rampant. In this rainforest, and it's just crazy. Absolutely everywhere. The Christmas Island crabs. It's just thick. They're all apparently eating the leaf litter. Oh, do you hear that? That's the imperial pigeon calling. Look at this. Everywhere. That's the imperial pigeon again. Everywhere is like this. Just, I mean, you're stepping on them. It is the weirdest place. Unbelievable. And it's a beautiful rainforest. Look at these great big trees going up. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at the height of that. Wow, what a place. We're walking through this this rainforest here and hoping to see a robber crab, but no such luck. You got one? Ralph just found me a robber crab, also known as a coconut crab, on the other islands. Holy moly, look at this guy.
There's another one there.
Wow.
The same size.
Look at the size of that guy.
Oh, another
Wonderful. Nigel was brave enough to pick one up. Can you turn it down so I can see?
This thing you pull off, is it?
Wow. Nigel, you're a brave man.
Yeah.
Ralph is cutting up some of the fruits that we've got. That these chickens all came running out of the forest thinking they're going to get fed. But they don't seem very interested in the fruit that he's providing here. Nope, that's not what they want. This amazing landscape here of eroded limestone, just sharp as blades all the way through here. It's called the blowholes because there's a blowhole around the corner here that we're going to go visit. Damn, what a scary place. There's no way you could get through here. There's a skull coming in. Wow, there we go. Cool. This used to be the main town. It's called South Point. It's a railway station up there. These massive buildings were involved with the phosphate crushing and transport. And there used to be an entire town here. And the mining company decided to absolutely destroy it, move all the people to where the current town is at Flying Fish Cove, and mine the entire area and for phosphate. And so here's, for example, one of the many signs describing the phosphate mining, first by hand by Chinese workers, and then by excavators and rail, and eventually today by big diggers and trucks. Later we came across one of the modern open pit mining sites, and then Nigel showed us an unusual abandoned project site. Amazing story here. This is a Sydney businessman, and he bought this site, a whole area around here, and eventually persuaded the Australian government to buy it from him for, Nigel says, 100 million. A little unbelievable, but and all that's left is these couple of structures and a sign which Nigel is and a toilet which is Nigel is standing next to you. I mean, you just can't believe this. Look at this. Asia Pacific Space Center. This is too ridiculous.
This is our $100 million plaque.
Too funny. This is a trap for feral cats. There are thousands of these traps all over the place. I'm not quite understanding how they're baited. and they kill about 400 feral cats every year. And they've got these ones are on drums because otherwise the coconut or robber crabs would find their way in and get trapped. Driving along this road, this is the main road from way down South Point up to Flying Cove, and there's metal fencing along the side of the road. And then every now and again there's a grill, and the grills are for crabs to go across the road so they don't all gets crunched when they do the migration to the ocean. I strongly recommend Nigel for his encyclopedic knowledge of the island and his hospitality if you visit Christmas Island, a most remarkable place. Well, it's the 13th of September, Friday, and this morning, early, we have a freighter. Looks like it's a Thai freighter, Sea something, Sea Stella from Bangkok. And they are being maneuvered by these two, or at least followed by these two grey workboats. They get loaded off the huge jetty here. We're going to tie them up to these massive buoys which have chains to the bottom. We're going to load it up with phosphate from the conveyor belts on this whole big contraption here. This is the freighter that just arrived this morning, and you can make out there are two conveyor belt systems, each on a long arm, and then there are these huge grey-green tubes, one on the right and one on the left here, that deliver the phosphate into the holds of the ship. And I don't know how long it takes, so it's going to be interesting to see. Does it take a day to load it? I don't know. We'll find out. Well, after doing some boat projects this morning, once the sun got too much, I bailed to the information center. I'll show you in a moment. And I spent the whole day there talking with people, doing internet stuff on their Wi-Fi, because cell service here does not have data access. They're just getting it, and it's still experimental. It's a royal drag. Anyway, sun setting, and this freighter is almost full to the waterline. So in about, what is that, close to 10 hours, they've pretty much filled it. And there's the information center, that lovely air conditioning and Wi-Fi. And there's the conveyor belt coming down the hill, bringing the phosphate from storage facilities like those and many others up above. Ralph kindly hosted me and other sailors twice on his Finot 44 aluminum boat called Z, and even taught me how to make fish paella. Thanks, Ralph. This is the substantial dock that we used to come and go, not floating, but rather with multiple deck levels to accommodate the tides. On my final morning, I went on a scuba dive with these folk. I thoroughly enjoyed Christmas Island, from quirky things like these mosaics on the ubiquitous Australian public barbecue stations, to the many murals around town, and even on the Harbour Master building. In the next episode, I sail on to Cocos Keeling.